Today, we're diving into a project that's trying to tackle one of the biggest, most fundamental problems in the entire crypto space. We're talking about Midnight and its huge promise to bring real, usable privacy to the blockchain. It all really boils down to this one simple but kind of provocative question. What if the thing we all thought was blockchain's greatest strength, that radical, total transparency, is actually its biggest weakness? And this leads us straight into what you could call the blockchain privacy paradox. It's this idea that transparency is a total double-edged sword. I mean, think about it. The original promise was incredible, right? True decentralization, you actually own your stuff, and you don't have to trust some random third party. But the reality we got, especially with the early blockchains, was total transparency. Every single thing you do is on a public ledger for the world to see. And kind of ironically, that pushed people back towards centralized companies and exchanges, which just made all our data vulnerable all over again. Fami, the president of the Midnight Foundation, has this perfect analogy for it. He says relying on centralized companies to protect our data is like leaving your front door wide open and just trusting one single security guard to watch it. You're just hoping they don't get distracted or fall asleep on the job. So what's the fix? Well, this is where Midnight comes into the picture. It's a next-generation blockchain, and it's built from the ground up around this one core idea they call rational privacy. Now, rational privacy isn't about being a total black box. And that's the whole point. Unlike the old privacy models that were all or nothing, this is different. By default, everything you do is confidential. But, and this is the important part, you get to choose when to share specific bits of information. It creates this amazing bridge between keeping your personal life private and still being able to do business in the real world, which needs compliance. And I love how Fami puts a really human spin on this. He says, confidence comes from being able to share information confidentially. See, privacy isn't just about hiding things. It's about building trust by being in control of your own story. And when you have that kind of privacy, it unlocks all these real-world applications that are just impossible on a completely transparent chain. We're talking about things like securely moving patient medical records, creating stablecoins that businesses can actually use for payroll without broadcasting everyone's salary, or building confidential supply chains. These are massive industries that have been waiting for a solution like this. Okay, so that's the why. Now for the how. How does the network actually make all this happen? Well, it's powered by a really clever cooperative model that uses two different tokens, Night and Dust. Let's break this down. First, you have Night. Think of this as the capital asset. It's your stake in the network, your investment, your governance rights. And just by holding it, it automatically generates the network's fuel. That fuel is called Dust. Dust is the utility token. It's what you actually spend to make your private transactions. But here's the kicker. Dust decays. It's a use it or lose it resource. This whole design is meant to encourage you to actually use the network, not just hoard the token. And when you hear the analogy, it just clicks. You don't go to the checkout at Walmart and try to pay with your Walmart stock, right? So why on earth should you have to sell off a piece of your core investment just to pay a transaction fee on a blockchain? By separating the asset from the utility, you solve that fundamental problem. What you get is this really elegant and powerful incentive cycle. It's super simple. You hold Night. Your Night generates dust for you. You use that dust to do stuff on the network, and any dust you don't use just, poof, disappears. It rewards you for being an active participant instead of punishing you for it. So a brand new network with a new model, how do you get it into people's hands? Well, you do it with what might just be the biggest airdrop in history. It's called the Glacier airdrop. And the scale they're talking about here is just wild. 24 billion Night tokens. And that's not just a fraction of the supply. That is 100% of the initial tokens, all going directly to the community. But what's really clever isn't just the size, it's the strategy. It's not just for one crypto tribe. Half of the airdrop is going to the Cardano community, which makes sense since they helped develop the project. But the other half? That's going to millions of wallets across 7 other huge chains, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. The idea is to build a mass-up, diverse, multi-chain community from the very first day. The plan for what happens after the airdrop starts is also really unique. First, there's a 60-day window for everyone eligible to claim their tokens. But after that,
Any tokens that weren't claimed go into a 30-day scavenger hunt. It's basically a game where the most engaged community members can solve these computational puzzles to claim the rest. And in a brilliant move, a small piece of those scavenged tokens gets automatically sent to fund the Midnight Foundation, so the treasury gets built by the most active users.
All right, so let's zoom all the way out. Let's talk about the future of privacy and why any of this really truly matters. At the end of the day, the vision for Midnight isn't just to be another blockchain. It's to become the connective tissue for all blockchains, a kind of base layer that finally lets us move sensitive data, our health records, our financial agreements, on-chain without giving up our privacy. It's about getting back to that original dream of decentralization, while also building the surfboard we're going to need to ride that huge wave of institutional money that's coming. And it all leaves us with one final, pretty profound question to think about. If we all agree that privacy is a fundamental human right in the real world, then why shouldn't it be a fundamental right in our digital world too?